Welcome back, Rewired for Success listeners. This is Torben Anderson, your host from Rewired for Success. If you're a business owner that wants to take control and rewire your business for serious scale-up success, then you have come precisely to the right place. Whether you're a startup or an established business or getting ready to scale, then this is for you. Today, we continue our series of interviews with those making it big in scaling their businesses. And I'm super excited to present today's guests in a moment. But first, I want to thank both Process Street, the sponsors of today's episode. We use Process Street to map out our internal processes at Rewired in a super efficient and repeatable way. But more on that at the end of the show. So, Rewired for Success listeners, I'm super excited today to introduce Trevor Page. Trevor is a serial entrepreneur who've come together to collaborate with his latest SaaS business called Lead Nibbler. Lead Nibbler is a simple way to introduce the psychology of micro commitments into your lead generation strategy and double your conversion rates with a simple install. I'm super interested to know more about this. Trevor, welcome to the show. How are you?
Not too shabby. How are you doing? It's good to be here.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for coming on. So tell me more about your journey. Tell me more about, what has brought you to entrepreneurship and you've obviously had businesses in the past. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Bit of a loaded question. It's been a long journey. So yeah, it started back in 2012. I have a programming background, love to code, still love the code. Eventually got to the point where I wanted to branch out, be my own boss, try that thing out. I wasn't learning as much at work. I'm personally wired to learn, and I stopped learning. So I was looking to the new, direction to go to allow me to learn, and that was entrepreneurship. And holy cow, what a learning journey in the past 6 years. So as you mentioned, the word serial entrepreneur, yes, I have had many undertakings, many failures along the way. And it was all mostly predicated around me solving my own problems, scratching my own itch, which I'm fortunate I can do that because I can create software. So it's been a long journey. I've probably created 5 or 6 different businesses, of which one has been successful. And I'm hoping for the second one, or not second, but another one to become successful of the 5 or 6. So that's a very brief history that brings us from 2012 until now. So
Great. Yeah, I mean, it's all about learning about things through your mistakes, and thanks for your honesty there. That sounds like it's been a really interesting journey for you. So tell us more about Lead Nibblers. What's that all about?
Yeah, so again, this was predicated out of necessity. My business is very much, I say my business, the most successful business I've ever done was centered around teaching people how to code. I'm a very good teacher for some reason. I say this on almost every podcast I'm on. My mother always said I should be a teacher because I'm great at it, but you never listen to your mom because of course she's going to say good things about you. So I never listened to her. And then now my most successful business is around teaching people. So thank you, Mom, for that. I teach people how to code. Like I said, I'm passionate about coding. I love it. But that business, most of my traffic comes organically through Google. And the cheapest way for me to convert leads is via my blog, via the organic traffic, because it's free. So, apparently Google Home is chiming in. So technology for you. So, I wanted to increase my leads. If I can increase my leads, I can increase my business, grow my business faster, that kind of thing. My conversion rate was below average. So I found on, if you ever heard of the Sumo Me product,
Yeah.
you have like pop-ups and that kind of thing for lead generation. They boasted their sort of stats for their customers. So out of 500,000 customers, the average conversion rate was, 2% or something. And my blog was falling short of that. I was at like 1.7 or 1.8. I like data. I'm a data guy, data geek. So I was like, okay, I need to get better at this. I need to figure out. So I've tried to do every iteration I could with their tool. And I said, I'm going to try something different. I learned about this through, I think it was Russell Brunson. He has this concept of a micro commitment. And he asks a sort of low barrier to entry question first before asking for an email address. And apparently this works really well. So I tested the hypothesis that this would work with a little simple, I took a Lead Pages page, if you're familiar with Lead Pages, fantastic product.
Yeah.
Custom coded that solution in there, sent some traffic to it, sure enough, doubled my conversion rates. So I built a product that could take that process, make it easy for me to do, as well as easy for everyone else to do. So, put it on my own blog and went from around 1.7, 1.8% to like 4.5%. So oftentimes I have to say it will double your conversion rates because people don't believe me when I say it'll quadruple your conversion rates. So it's funny, but that's how we're all wired. We're very skeptical people, human beings. So that's sort of, how the story evolved, and now I'm where I am, which is I have the software product, which I'm excited because it actually works. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Great.
Yeah.
And what's your true passion? Why do this software product that you're talking about right now?
Like I said, I don't know why, but there's something about coding for me. I could do it all day, every day. I don't know why I'm wired this way. I think so one person pointed this out. I have a mastermind group, and one of my friends, his name is Carter Johnson, pointed this out. He said he had tried coding before, and it's usually, there's so many little victories that you can have while coding. You could start from nothing and you can create something really simple, like, okay, a page that has a button on it, and you click the button, it does something. You can create that so quickly, and you can click on that button and you can have that thing happen that you wanted to create from nothing, and it's right there in front of you. And there's so many of those little victories in code that you can accumulate over a day. And it's always like little hits of dopamine or something. I don't know, this satisfaction of taking literally a blank piece, I shouldn't say piece of paper, a blank page on a screen, and create software that people will actually pay money for. Like, to me, that's, it's so cool. I think that's the coolest thing. So I guess I'm wired to get all these little dopamine hits from writing lines of code. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps here. You're taking me back, because I remember, I code less these days. But I'm thinking back when, I first started coding, probably quite a while ago, and some 20 years ago. And I remember getting so engrossed in my coding that my coffee mugs used to pile up on the side of the side of the desk. And
Yep.
I know what you mean. It's that I didn't even need the coffee hit.
Yeah.
All I need to do is code. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I've learned, I'll say this briefly. One thing I've learned recently is there's this thing called the state of flow. And I didn't know how to define the state of flow, but you've been inside of the state of flow when you lose time.
Yeah.
There's two different ways. Either time slows down. That's usually when something is life threatening. Like if you jump out of an airplane, if you've ever done that before, time will slow down for you, so you can process more data faster. So that's one state of flow. Another state of flow is time loss. So in other words, you sit down in front of your computer at 9 a.m. and you look up and realize that you've missed lunch and it's maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That means that you were just in a state of flow. You were just in it, and you're so productive. And programming is one of the only things, the easiest thing that I can do in terms of a task that will put me in the state of flow. It's almost immediate. If I know what I want to work on, and I drop into that state, and it's addictive. That's how video games are created. They're created to put you in the same thing. If you ever sat down and play a video game, if you like video games, and you look at your watch and you realize 2 hours has gone by, same thing. Yeah. So it's that same hit that you're talking about. And yeah, for me, coding is the thing. So, and it's
great
too, so it's much better than video games for me.
Yeah, and how does that feel at while you're in that zone? How does that feel?
Well, that's a really good question too, because typically you don't realize you're in the state of flow when you are in it, because you're so focused on whatever it is you're doing. You don't realize it until afterwards. So you actually need to be quite talented to be aware that you're in the state of flow when you are actually in it, because that usually will break you out of the state of flow. So anyway, that's just some stuff I've learned recently. I like to also do some hacking, that kind of thing. Not body, but mind hacking. So in other words, how can I put myself into that state of flow more predictably and more often with all the things that I do in my life? Because that's a really productive state to be in. So,
yeah. Well, yeah. I can really hear that you love what you do, and Rewired, we focus a lot on people, and when people are in their unique ability and when they're doing what they like. And if you're listening to this, this is exactly, from a Rewired perspective, what you want to see in your team, in the people that you work with. You want to see people in flow, whether that's, Trevor, who's an entrepreneur here, or if you're managing, multiple people in a team, you want to be able to get everyone into their flow. You want to make sure people are doing exactly what they like doing. And certainly sounds like that's where you are right now.
For sure. And I mean, I actively, so I got to the point where I was doing too many entrepreneurial tasks that I said, you know what, I want to get back into coding. I feel like I'm almost getting a little bit rusty because I'm not really pushing any boundaries with the software that I create for myself. It's all well within my realm of expertise. And so I'm not necessarily learning anything. So I took a contract on. This is something that entrepreneurs usually frown upon, is taking a job. Oh my goodness, why would you do, But I actually crave it. So I took a contract, and I'm working with a company to, help them create their product and whatnot. And I'm out of my element with the code that I'm doing there. And I'm learning so much. Even this past week, I was up against a problem that I had no idea how to solve. And to me, that's very exciting. So I seek opportunities to challenge myself with code for learning too. I think really learning is for me, like I said before, I'm wired for it. So if I'm ever not learning, then it's just not fun for me. So I seek new challenges and new things to learn about. So
Great.
that's how I'm wired.
No, great. Thanks for sharing. So at Rewired, we talk about, focusing more on your business, and, the DNA of a business is really that technology. It's the people, the process. We've spoken a bit about, people and a bit about the technology we'll get onto in a moment. But just in terms of how you see business and what processes you see as important, you've obviously done this a few times now, but what is your process? What works for you?
Yeah. So it's funny because this is something that's come to light recently that maybe say, oh my God, this is interesting. So what has worked for me in the past, that has grown my business in the past, I have since stopped doing, and now I'm seeing my business is starting to just slowly creep downwards. And I'm trying to figure out, why is it creeping down? Oh, I stopped doing the stuff that I was doing that brought me to the point where I was successful. So what that generally is, and it's nothing that we haven't heard before. It's content creation for business owners, consistently creating new content that you can give away for free, that is actually useful. So for me, I have a YouTube channel that has like 7,000 subscribers, and I haven't posted a video in like 6 months. It's like, what are you doing, Trevor? This is what worked for you and, brought you, why are you neglecting it? Podcasting. Most of my customers, if you ask my customers, hey, how did you hear about Trevor? Or, hey, why did you purchase Trevor stuff? For my programmers anyway, it's, well, I heard him on a podcast, right? And, when was the last podcast that I've released? I haven't recorded one in months. So it's just, and now I'm wondering why my business is starting to, slow down. Well, there it is. There's your answer. Keep doing what works. What works for me has always been content creation, whether that's blog, podcast, audio, video, whatever it is, or all of the above. You can't neglect that stuff. So, and I have been, so this is me slapping my own wrist, and making myself accountable on this Rewired podcast. So, and good for you. You are recording a podcast right now. So that's, don't stop doing this. So.
No, but I mean, you're highlighting the fact that systemization is important. Once something's working, it's about how to systemize that, because,
Yes.
when you've systemized it, you start to take some of that continuous effort out, and that procedural effort, and seeing how that can be automated, and how you can sort of keep doing those things that are working for you.
Yeah, like have a day.
Yeah.
For me, it's a content creation day. First, you start with, okay, let's make a content calendar, right? So
Yeah.
plan it out so you don't have to think about it, right? These are
Yeah.
the topics I want to talk about. This is when I'm going to record the content for that stuff.
Yeah.
And these are the days I'm going to do it on. So Monday's podcast day, Tuesday is YouTube day, Wednesday is blog day, that kind of system really works well for me. So again, it's cheesy. It's not anything that we haven't heard before, but it works. So
Yeah.
why did you stop doing it if you stopped doing it, right? So we're weird people, human beings. When something is working, we don't see that it's working until we stop. So
Yeah. No, I hear you. So tell us more about Lead Nibblers. What's some of the technology, and tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I'm always way too ambitious. So, of course, and this is something that most programmers do. We always think that our software is going to need to support hundreds and thousands of users. So we build it to be, scalable, and I'm using Amazon Web Services to host it so that I can infinitely scale with new servers and all this. But the sad truth is, probably 90 something percent of the software that's created never gets past like 100 customers. So, yeah. So from that point of view, Lead Nibbler, I'm being overly ambitious with the code and the technology behind it. So it's, hey, I can support plenty of customers at this point. But it's a whole nother beast to actually have the marketing side behind you. So talking about the systemizing and people, for me, I've learned now I'm okay at marketing. I'm amazing at coding, but I'm only okay at marketing. So I just got off a call right before, like I was literally just hanging up with one person to talk to you now. I'm bringing in essentially an agency into my successful business around teaching people how to code, and they're going to take over and start wearing all the hats that I was wearing for most of the marketing and the paid traffic and all that stuff. That, like I said, I'm okay at, but that's where they excel. That's their, how did you say it's their, when they're working in it and they're really good at it? Did you have a word for that?
Well, they're in their zone.
They're in their zone of genius or something. I've heard of that kind of thing before or something.
Unique ability. Yeah.
Unique ability. Yeah, I think that's what you said. So
yeah.
That's what I'm bringing them in for, right? That's exactly, and I think that's, who knows? I don't have a crystal ball. I can't see if that's going to work or not. But I have a good feeling about it, and it feels right to bring in a team, an agency to help me with the marketing side of things, because that's not my zone of genius or unique ability, right? Mine's coding, so I gotta embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rewired, we talk about bottlenecks or asking people to do many things and expecting people to be a jack of all trades.
Right.
And it's not a bad thing to think that we are good at certain things and other people are better at other things, and why should we not spend more time doing the things we love? So exactly. There we go.
That's why I said, to me, 2018 for me is the year of coding. So that's why I'm focusing as much effort as I can to do the code and to spend less time doing everything else. So that's my goal for 2018, and so far it's been working out pretty well. So hopefully I can continue this pace, because we're halfway through already or something. So it's going fast.
Yeah. No, I love it. So at Rewired, we ask everyone 3 questions. So we'll just kick this off. What is the one thing that you think people fail at when they choose a new technology? When they go out, they think about a problem that they're trying to solve. What is the one thing people fail to do when they choose new technologies?
That's a really good question. I'm trying so hard to think of examples of I mean, probably one thing that people often do is just look at the price and go for the cheapest option. That's doesn't tend to work out well, although that can backfire the other way too, right? So I think it's a matter of setting a time period for the new technology. So saying, what is my desired outcome? What does success look like with this technology? How long do I want to give it? So give a time bound to it. And then if I haven't hit success with it by this time frame, it didn't work. So be okay to let go of it and move on and look for another solution, rather than just clinging on to it and saying, oh, I've already invested 2 months into this, so I'm just going to keep going down with the ship and using this technology because I've already sunk so much time and effort into it. That's usually not the right mindset to put in, to put into anything for life, in life for that matter. So, but that applies to technology as well. So,
yeah. No, I love it. We talk about not getting married to technology because, these days we've got so much abundance of technology and so many different kinds of solutions, and also so many ways to customize technology as you're doing it. And, that's a great way to say, well, you don't have to lock yourself into something. You don't have to paint yourself into a corner.
No, unless you sign a very extensive contract. Then you're
Exactly.
so stay away from long contracts.
I couldn't have said it better. Totally agree.
There you go.
So, and then the second one is, what is your favorite technology tool and why?
This is one I was fearing. You mentioned this at the beginning of the podcast, and I've been racking my brain trying to think of my favorite technology. And I still don't. I use a lot. Being a a nerd myself, I'm trying to think of what's the one thing, if you took it away from me, I would feel the most pain. Oh man, it's going to sound, so there's different categories in my mind of how to break this down. One is like the entertainment category, right? If you took Netflix away from me, that would probably hurt, right? So that's pretty impressive for them, because I've been paying Netflix. I don't know if you're a Netflix subscriber, but most people are. And so that one would hurt. I don't know if that would classify as a technology though. That's more entertainment. But it is built on, if you look at the web traffic, I don't know, the figure for all of the internet's traffic and the percentage of it that's Netflix?
No, I don't, but I'm sure it's a lot.
I think it was over 60% of packets traveling around on the internet. Over 60% is like dedicated to Netflix of the internet. So, I guess that there's no, what's a good qualifier for technology? That might be one, is 60% of all the internet traffic. But in terms of like either a business or a productivity tool, if you were to take one away from me, which one would hurt the most is how I would classify it. And I really don't know. I use too many. Like you said, there's such an abundance of technology that if you took it away, I would just move on to another one. One that I've been enjoying recently, I've hired a customer service person. I use Groove HQ, which is just another customer service sort of ticketing type software, but it works really well. I mean, I've started using it. It was very easy to set up. It's very cheap, although I've see my previous comment, which is don't just go for the cheapest solution unless it works, and this is working. So I recently brought in a customer service person using this software, and I feel bad because I never interact with her. She does her job. I never have to deal with many issues with my customers, and I just send her money. It's fantastic. So yeah,
that's great.
made possible through Groove HQ.
No, that's great. And finally, the next big thing in tech. I mean, you could talk about programming and coding as well. What is the next big thing around coding? Well,
in coding, it's tough to say, because I'm mostly a Java programmer, which is an old technology, right? It's been around. I say old. It's been around since the 90s, but in the tech world, that's old. So it's tough to say what's new and cool, because typically what's new and cool in programming is not guaranteed to stick around. It can go away very fast. So I don't know. There's certainly a lot of talk about blockchain. That's a technology. I don't know how many of your people have said, or your interviewees have said blockchain. But that certainly seems like a very disruptive new technology coming in. I myself have learned how to build a crypto mining rig, physical computer, if you will, with video cards and everything, which I then turned around and taught a course on that and sold a course and paid off the hardware investment. So now I have this machine sitting in my basement just making me money every month, which is fantastic. But yeah, no, blockchain, what that's built on, cryptocurrencies, they're built on is blockchain. That's certainly technology that has gotten a lot of buzz, but rightfully so. There's a lot of, whenever you think of decentralization in general, it just makes sense to decentralize everything, right? So, and there's so many applications that can be built on top of a blockchain technology, which is literally just decentralizing things. So I don't know. I would think if I were to be a betting man, that's where I would put my eggs, in that basket.
Yeah, no, totally. We've had some folks on already, and we're hoping to have some more guys around crypto. So looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, Trevor, thank you so much for giving us a view and a window onto what you do.
Mm-hmm.
How do people learn more about Lead Nibblers? How do they get hold of you?
Yeah, I mean, you can check out leadnibbler.com if you like.
Yeah.
And we also have leadnibbler@gmail.com. I'm a tech guy, but I haven't linked it up to my domain yet. Don't judge me. There's so much I need to do. That's just up lower on the priority list. So yeah, leadnibbler@gmail.com.
Fantastic. And any final thoughts?
Any final thoughts? For your people? I don't know. I've been doing this for a little while. I've now been an entrepreneur more than I've been a programmer. Recently that's happened, which is kind of an interesting, I've always defined myself as a programmer. I think if you can find some way to fall in love with learning, I've mentioned this twice already. Yeah. I think that's been my key to building a business where I don't have to work if I don't want to. I can literally do whatever I want during the day and have that freedom. And I think the success of that is because I'm wired to learn and I enjoy the process of learning. So if there's some way that you can wire yourself to love to learn, that's certainly, I think, been my secret sauce in life. So for a parting thought, that's what I would impart on your audience. You got to love to learn.
No, I love the passion. Really appreciate it. Trevor, thanks again for coming on, man.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, take care.
Take care. You too.
Cheers for now. Hey, Rewired for Success listeners. I hope you enjoyed the time with Trevor. I hope you enjoyed his passion, and in particular, talking about how you should help your people get into flow, particularly developers and coders, the people that are helping you build your technology. Today, I just want to again say thank you so much for Process Street. They are sponsoring this episode. Process Street is a simple and powerful way to manage your team's recurring checklist and procedures. If you found this episode valuable, then please also go over to the Rewired for Success podcast and please provide a rating there, and your review will be greatly appreciated. If in future you wish to know more about Rewired for Success and how you can do some of the things that we're talking about on this show, please do not hesitate to email me on torben@rewired.co. That's TORBEN @rewired, REWIRED.co, or just visit my website at www.rewired.co. Thank you so much for listening. You take care. Bye.